I will let him give you more details later. In my daily report to my mother, I told them, among all manuscripts, we choose to start studying number 13. A few months later, when Yoram gave us the result of his study, as usual, I reported them to my mom. And having all the facts in her vibrant and bright brain, before she passed away, my mom told me, Magda, here is the answer to your question. The first publication about this manuscript was made by Richard Gotthel in July 1905 in the Jewish Quarterly Review, which he read as usual with a lot of attention. He gave the manuscript number 13. Zechariah Ben Anan finished the manuscript in the month of Tammuz, the 10th month of the Hebrew calendar, which is the month of July of the Gregorian calendar. You, she meant me, Yoram, and Sami, came across it on July 2017. And you were born on the 13th of July. Think about it. This is a sign that your father was right in his decision. He knew what he was doing. He stayed in Egypt because he wanted you to revive the memory of your ancestors and preserve their heritage, where it was created and where it has to remain. Thank you, Mom, and thank you, Dad. I will continue alongside with the valued contribution of your granddaughter, Heba, together with the dedicated members of Drop of Milk Association on the path paved by you both. By the way, Sami is also born on the 13th of July, so I bet we got the same answer. The floor now is to my dear friend Yoram to talk from a more historical point of view of the importance of the manuscript. Thank you.
Do you hear me? I would like to open by express my gratitude to Magda Harun for the continuous support and friendship and the common cause and the struggle for the preservation of Jewish heritage in Egypt. A couple of opening remarks. Obviously, we all understand that the Bible is the most read book of all time, with over 5 billion copies distributed in hundreds of languages and dialects. The authenticity of the biblical text has fascinated many generations of scholars. While this lecture does not deal with the Bible authenticity, it is important to note that the text in use today is based on ancient formulas, most notably those who were in the possession of the rabbinic and the Karaite Jewish communities in Egypt. Now, studying ancient copies of the Bible tell us a lot. Among other things, the story of formulating the text, editing its parts, the manner in which the Masorah, the language, and the grammar have been developed. This lecture sheds light on Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript, a complete book of Ketuvim, the third part of the Hebrew Bible that was copied in the year 1028, as you already heard several times. It tells the rediscovery of this rare manuscript, its main features, and the plans for its preservation in the broad context of safeguarding Jewish heritage in today's Egypt. Ben Anan is part of a corpus of manuscript refound during a comprehensive study of Cairo dozen synagogues in July 2017, including all kind of items, artifacts, including books, of course, that we found in synagogues compounds. In the Karaite synagogue, Moshe Deri, the documentary of this compound included a small library hall, which initially used as the community's courtroom, Beit Hadin. Most of all, as was mentioned in the video, at that very day, I wanted to find a copy of Al Yahudiya, a story, a beautiful story written in Arabic and published in the year 1920 by Murad Farag, the renowned Egyptian Karaite intellectual. So here you can see the library, part of the library, and you can see on the right side of the screen, in fact, a dedicated copy, very rare one, signed by Murad Farag, and it says in Hebrew, a gift to the Dropsy College Library in Philadelphia. A wonderful copy that Murad Farag bothered to send to this library. Now, in an attempt to locate the book, on one of these lower shelves, I noticed a number of packages wrapped in white paper, very simple white paper. On the back cover of the first package, someone had written in Hebrew, Gotthil 22, Gotthil 22. A quick glance left no room for doubt, at least for me. This was a biblical manuscript. In the following months, I studied the manuscript. Well, I have to admit, not an easy task for a historian of a modern Middle East, including Egypt. On January this year, 2020, I published my findings in the Jewish Quarterly Review, which you see here on the screen. Now, this evening lecture, is highly based on this article. By the way, it's free to download in the journal website if you would like to get the comprehensive study. Now, let me briefly describe the historization of the corpus, including Ben Anan manuscript. The first account about the corpus was published in a long, 46 long pages article by Professor Richard Gottheil in 1905. In the same journal, Jewish Quarterly Review, as you can see, the first page, the opening page of this famous article. 30 years later, it was surveyed by Tuvia Levi Bobovich, the chief Karaite rabbi, HaChacham, and in 1981, following the peace treaty with Israel, a team from the Institute of Microfilm Hebrew Manuscript in Jerusalem arrived in Cairo, and they have a very limited span of time to take the material for this microfilm copy. Now, it is important to note that Gottheil's article remains the most detailed account about the corpus, the whole of the corpus, but it is also included incorrect data, a direct result, I would say, of the short time that allowed him to browse the files back at the beginning of the 20th century, nor the option to photographing the thousands of pages of the whole of the corpus. In fact, no one knew what happened to the corpus until it was refound on a dusty shelf in the Karaite library in July 2017. Now, allow me to, I would say very briefly, discuss or talk about some of the main characteristics of the manuscript. I will talk about both the form and the content. Now, Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript comprises 313 leaves, handwritten in Hebrew on both sides of the parchment. That means 616 pages all, containing all the books and scrolls included in the writing or ketuvim. In addition, 12 pages containing clarifications of the Masorah. You can see the beautiful Masorah in micrography forms over here and in the bottom of the page. The text is written on a large parchment over 36 centimeter on 34 centimeter. And the manuscript clearly dated, which is very important, and includes the full name of the scribe who copied the biblical text, vocalized it, and wrote the Masorah. And the name, in addition to this, also the name of the person who had commissioned this copy. This superb manuscript reflects the extraordinary talent of the artisans involved in its production. Especially impressive are the fine square Hebrew letters. You can just have a look into the screen. The beautiful Hebrew letters of the biblical text, the illustrations, the ornamentation, and of course the vocalization. The text was written in high quality ink on well-processed parchments made of leather, possibly goatskin. The color of the ink in the biblical text is reddish brown, and in the Masorah is blackish. In most part, the parchment is, and this is very important to my mind, the parchment is in a very good condition. Though a few dozen pages have been damaged by moisture and the ink faded and the written part lost, but the vast majority of the manuscript is in very good condition. Now, in terms of form, Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript is quite similar to other ancient and very unique manuscripts, among them the renowned Aleppo Codex and the Leningrad Codex. You can see the two codexes now. The method of vocalizing, the style of the Masorah, and the various markings all attest to that Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript is quite similar to this famous codex that survived till our very day. Here we can see in comparison a page from, in fact, the first biblical text in Zechariah Ben Anan on the right side, and you can see in comparison the style of the Masorah in the Leningrad Codex, the letters. I don't know if you clearly can see it, but I see a lot of similarity between these two. Oops. Yeah. Now, Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript includes several decorative illustrations following the impressive tradition of Arab calligraphy of the time, the 10th century, 11th century, and this is quite clear in looking into this micrography of the text. In the Masoretic text, there are circulars, as we can see here, triangular part, and diamond shapes. Especially impressive, I think, illustrations are combined at the beginning of the book and at its end, as we can see here. This is the, of course, the end of the book of Psalm, and at its, I would say, magnificently, we can see the quality of this manuscript. Now, in addition, other prominent characteristic of Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript are the corrections in the text of and additions to the biblical text after its completion, as we can see here. Now, this image is the longest correction in the entire manuscript and is made to chapter 9, Esther, where there are no fewer than 7 corrected rows. You can notice them over here in the right column at the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Start on the upper right column with the word or translation of the word to the Jews who are in Shushan, end of quote. Now, allow me to go to the front cover of Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript. It has only partially survived, but the readable parts enable the identification of the owner's genealogy. At the top of the flyleaf, there is Hebrew text giving the valuable data of the identity of the first owner, Ovadia HaKohen ben Moshe HaKohen. You might notice this here, Ovadia HaKohen, as well as a series of abbreviations that are quite customary in dedications on ancient Hebrew manuscript. It is said here in Hebrew, very difficult to translate, מה שקנה זה הספר, כבוד גדולת, הדרת יקרת, and then the word is missing, תפארת, מורנו ורבנו, עובדיה הכהן, בר כבוד, etc., etc. Now, on the left side, over here, on the left side of the page, written in Judeo-Arabic, here, the text is in Judeo-Arabic, is information on a later transaction concerning the manuscript. And it says, انتقل بحكم البيع الصحيح الشارع من ملك السيد, and then we don't have the name. Transferred, translation, transferred upon a valid and legitimate purchase from the ownership of Mr., and then the name is missing. I would say that the rest of the caption is unreadable, and the bottom part over here, as you can see, is completely torn, in fact, gone. On the left side, you can see the very same page. So this is from Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript that we found by the group in Cairo in 2017. And this is the very identical page of the microfilm that was taken by the team from the National Library in Jerusalem. You can easily see that the quality of the text we have in today is by far more readable and useful for the study of this text. Now, let's move to the last page of the biblical text, which consists of two columns over here. This is the last page of the biblical text. The last two columns containing the last verses of Ezra and Nehemiah, here and here, and then the third column is remarkable, extraordinary. The third column then forms the beginning of an appendix. It contains valuable, I would say, rare information written in the first person by the scribe, including the exact date he completed the assignment. Have a look here. אני זכריה הסופר בר ענן, המלמד מארץ מערב, נוחו בגן עדן כתבתי וניקדתי בעזרת שדי, זה הכתובים למרי יצחק הפרח הטוב בר אפרים הכהן, סופה טובה. בשנת 4788 לברית עולם. Free translation, I, Zechariah, the scribe Ben Anan, the teacher from the land in the west, rest in the Garden of Eden, I wrote and vocalized with the help of God these writings for the distinguished Yitzchak, son of Ephraim HaKohen, successfully completed in the year 4788 from the creation, which make the year 1028. Now, on the next page, which you can see on the left side of the screen, on the next page, there is an illustration, a beautiful one, in the shape of an arch, consisting of biblical verses and providing additional details on the manuscript, its scribe, and its owner. In the beautiful micrography, the scribe named the exact date on which he had finished his work. Over here, you can hardly see this, so you should trust me. And the free translation, quote, finished with the help of God in the month of Tammuz on the 8th day with blessing Amen, end of quote. On the first row of the arch illustration, the scribe reveals that he is affiliated, and this is very important, he reveals that he is affiliated with the Tiberian tradition of copiers of the Hebrew Bible and Masorah. The description alone does not allow us, nevertheless, to determine where Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript was copied. We also do not know the circumstances under which the Karaite community in Cairo gained possession of this rare manuscript. Further down in the illustration on your left side of the screen, it is written that Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript was ordered by Yitzchak HaKohen ben Marna Ephraim HaKohen. You can see it right over here. This entry reflects the fact that in Jewish society of Middle Ages, the copying of a book was a private initiative. Writing a full Bible could take many years, and its price and value were determined on the basis of the quality of the material used and obviously the reputation of the scribe who copied and vocalized the text and the Masorah, and also that of the illustrator. Zechariah Ben Anan ends with 9 pages appendix, including a separate page depicting the essence and precise methods of Tiberian vocalization. Now I would like to go to the last part of my presentation and to connect between the Ben Anan manuscript and, in fact, the corpus, the whole of the corpus that we found in the Karaite library within the compound of Moshe Deri Karaite Synagogue in El Abbasiya, Cairo, to talk about this and the future of the Egyptian Jewish heritage. I would like to open with what I think is a legitimate question that may arise regarding the future of manuscripts and Judaica in general if Jews no longer remain in Egypt. So this question has been raised many times, I would say, in the past 30 or 40 years. I suggest to address this important question in the context of developments in Egypt, especially during the past 10 years. Now, while only a handful of Jews live in Cairo, a dozen synagogues, cemeteries, school buildings, and valuable Judaica items still exist in the Egyptian capital, Cairo. The tiny community is led by Magda Harun, who firmly promotes a vision, I would say, a vision of preserving Jewish heritage as an integral part of Egyptian culture and history. Moreover, the Egyptian authorities are undergoing a significant positive attitudinal shift toward the cultural heritage of minorities, including the Jewish. The shift echoes a revisionist trend in public and cultural discourse, according to which the Jewish community is seen as an integral part of Egyptian culture and society. The opinions and arguments that arise in this context are inseparable from the ongoing debate about the history of modern Egypt and its evolving cultural identity as a result, I would say, of the country's diminishing minority groups. Yet, not everyone in Egypt supports this revisionism. There are, I would say in general, two types of critiques. Islamists who often hold anti-Semitic ideologies and people who oppose the above-mentioned views in the context of their political struggle against the regime and the policy led by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Now, I would like to elaborate a little bit about this, the last point. I think it is important to understand that at least part of the criticism against the revisionist views concerning the Jewish past in Egypt is highly connected with a political struggle within Egypt between supporters and opponents of the current regime. So the criticism is against the issue of renovation of synagogues or safeguarding the Jewish heritage, but it is part of a political campaign and debate, and we should take this into account. Now, against this backdrop, the rediscovery of Ben Anan manuscript provides an opportunity to discuss what I would like to call the future of the Jewish past in Egypt. It allows us to examine the broad and deep meanings of the preservation of Jewish heritage in the place in which it was created. The principal assumption on which this examination should rest is that because Jews were an integral part of local society and culture for many centuries, the responsibility for preserving Jewish heritage and assets rests foremost with the local Jewish community and the Egyptian society and government. One of the main goals of the Jewish community in Cairo today is to create a library of Egyptian Jewish heritage in Cairo, with over 10,000 volumes already been collected from the city's synagogues. And of course, it will include also this unique corpus, including Ben Anan manuscript. It is important to note that the location for this library has already been selected, and it is a property belongs to the Jewish community in Cairo, a building of the old Drop of Milk school. You can see the yard of this beautiful building. We see here only a part of it. And this building is in the heart of Cairo, very close to Talat Harb Street, not far from Tahrir Square, and not far from the central synagogue in Adli Street, Sha'ar HaShamayim. The Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript, as well as many other treasures, I would say, documentation that been collected in the past 4 years now will be placed one day, this is the vision, to be placed one day in this library. Now, this Judaica, including Ben Anan manuscript, have been in the country, in Egypt, for over 1,000 years. Generation after generation, 1,000 years. Generation after generation, surviving wars, revolutions, violence, arson, and much more. I'm asking today, why shouldn't it have a future in Egypt? Thank you.
Thank you, Yoram. And I think we can open the floor for questions. Soraya, where are you?
Take a paper.
A second, I'll seek Soraya. Are you here, Soraya? Soraya is not responding. Maybe Magda, you can do. No, maybe Magda, you can. Okay. No, Soraya. I have a request from Mr. Eli Tahan. He wants to have a small comment.
Hello, everybody. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you for all the team that take this important issue and manage it. This is something that is unbelievable. That's something that 1,000-year Bible was locating in the shelf in the Synagogue of Moshe Deri's Synagogue. So something that I'm talking about it and exciting how this Bible survives many years like this one. Something that is unbelievable, that 1,000 year, week after week, Karaite people read from this Bible. Unbelievable. So I'm looking for the moment that I can be there and take this book in my hand and read from him. Something that is unbelievable from my point of view. My parents born in Egypt, and I as a chairman of the Karaite Jewish in Israel and all over the world, understand the importance of this issue and manage some decision to be in contact in the team that is in Egypt, manage all these historical assets and judicial books and the cemetery of Basatin, and would like to take this opportunity to thank the Embassy of United States that's supporting and budget this renovation of the Basatin cemetery. Mrs. Magda Harun that managed this project, Professor Yoram Meital, Sami Ibrahim, and all the team that doing huge and a very important job. Well done, team. Thank you very much for this issue. Would like to take this opportunity again and again, say thank you, and looking forward to meet you and say hello personally. Thank you very much, team.
You're welcome.
You're most welcome, Eli.
Maggie, can you answer the question? You have the questions?
Let me see if I can see them.
on the Zoom group.
Yeah, I have a question from Vivian Levy. How many manuscripts do you think there are? Well, there are lots of manuscripts. And as Yoram was saying, how many books, Yoram, we have?
It depends on what day you're asking. Today, I would say we have about 15.
No, the books.
The books, not the manuscript.
Yeah.
Books we're having about 10,000 volumes. Not all of them, well, part of them already been cataloged, cleaned, of course, before. This is a very, I would say, a daily routine of hard work, finding the books, cleaning up what needed to be cleaned, and then cataloging them. We hope, again, that one day this catalog will be completed and be to the use of Egyptian students, citizens, visitors from all over the world, Jewish, not Jewish. The very idea is that this library will be a house for the books and the manuscript. Hopefully, we will get the support needed to establish this library. We are not there yet, although I guess we all understand that having the property, the very place, is a very important step forward, and we are working on it.
But in some of the books, if I remember, Yoram, we have books dating from the 17th century.
Yes, we have, I would say, several dozens of books from the 17th, 18th, and centuries. Most of them already been cataloged. We have a small team of Egyptian students who are part of the work that we try to establish here.
I would like to elaborate on the project of the library. Okay, the school, the photos that Yoram showed us is not very well, but I can picture this place when it will be restored to its previous image, and housing lots of books. The manuscripts will be in a safe room with climate control, and also all the other books, because some of them are quite old. It's a big project that has to be done. We have the place, we have the books, and we need the means to do it. It has to be done with cooperation of other universities. It's not a one-man project. It's not an organization. It's a huge project, and it will be the first center of Jewish studies in the Middle East, if it sees the day, and it will see it. It will see it. Richard Zan Young, does this manuscript have any similarities to the section of the? I don't know how to read this Roman LXX text in any way, which are the Leningrad Codex on Aleppo is quite distant. Yoram.
Well, yeah, well, there are a lot of similarities, and I pointed out in my talk the question of the methods of the Mesorah, the micrography of the text. The style itself is quite similar to the, it reminds me a lot the Leningrad Codex more than any other codex. But of course, it's not similar because the Leningrad Codex is the oldest full Bible. And we have the third part of the Bible, Ketuvim, but we do not have the first two. We know from the Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript that he completed the three parts of the Bible, but no one till now know what happened with these first two volumes. I have to point out that when Richard Gottheil visited the Dar Simcha Synagogue and back in 1905 or 4 and looked into the corpus, number 13 was exactly the copy that we have today. That means that even in the beginning of the 20th century, the Ben Anan manuscript contains the third part of the Bible and not the whole of the Bible.
Victor Golinets is asking, are there plans to scan the biblical manuscripts? How much would it cost? Well, it's not only a matter of scanning. They need to be, some of them need to be restored. They need to be treated. Some of them need to be treated also. We have started scanning. We have already one scanner that we bought ourselves. We are planning, if we have some savings, to buy a second one. But as the manuscripts are very rare, and we cannot trust anybody with this work. We have to do it ourselves. Somebody was asking, was Zechariah a Karaite?
We do not have a definite answer to this. This very person, Zechariah Ben Anan, is mentioned in one of a Geniza piece that I found in the Schechter Taylor collection, but not directly. It is a court case of his daughter, but it says the daughter of Zechariah Ben Anan described, but it did not identify him as a rabbinate or a Karaite. So it's it will keep as this. We don't know the answer.
But he was living in Egypt. It's a proof that he was living in Egypt.
We can assume that well, we do not have a concrete, I would say, factual evidence telling us more than what I described in the presentation about the production of the text itself. What we know for sure that the text was in the possession of the Karaite Jewish community in Cairo, well, for most of this 1,000 years.
A question from Laurence Julius. Thank you very much for thank you for a very interesting talk. Will the new library will be accessible to scholars from all over the world? It is the point. It will be accessible to everyone. It is the main objective of this library. As we are not in Egypt, you are not in possession of the Geniza. The treasures of the Geniza are not in our possession. So we have to keep what we possess. And it will, like the Geniza is accessible through the website of the Cambridge University and others. our manuscript will be available also. All the books, I hope, that we have in the library will be available for scholars from all over the world.
Yes, and in addition to this, we should take into account that every year, only in Cairo, there are almost 1,000 Egyptian students who are studying Hebrew, Semitic languages, Judaic studies, and if you ask for a public library in downtown Cairo, you would not find. And hopefully, we would like that this library will be open wide to this student, to be closer to this Jewish heritage that lasted for centuries, even some people would say 2 millenniums. So we would like to see this open. In addition, in the library, we definitely would like to see a research unit for the more rare books, and obviously the manuscript, Zechariah Ben Anan manuscript among them. We would like scholars from all over the world to come to Cairo or to use online this library. But for this, we need the library. And hopefully, all the guests this evening, and maybe others, will be kind of good ambassadors for this library project.
In the library also we'll have a small laboratory for restoring the old books. We are going to train some young people to restore the old books, so we can have our own restoration laboratory. There is Mr. Muhammad Saud. I was asking a question, I didn't get it very why Mr. Ibn Anan did not write his manuscript with Hebrew handwriting. I think it is in Hebrew handwriting. There was no typing at that time, and it's in Hebrew.
Yeah, it's a Hebrew Bible, a complete third part in beautiful Hebrew letters, as I assume Mr. Muhammad, like all of us, have seen in the presentation.
I think we, the Aleppo Codex is
Yoram, sorry for interruption. Eli Tahan saying that Ben Anan was for sure Karaite because the family Ben Anan, this is a Karaite family.
No, the name Ben Anan is indeed a Karaite name, but I'm an historian, and I need more than.
This is what I told him.
Yeah.
You are a scholar and you will need for evidence. I told him this.
I completely share this presumption that most likely, I would say, he was a Karaite. If we follow the genealogy of Karaite names, this is a very, I would say, typical Karaite name. So yes, Mr. Eli, but again, as a historian, we need more than just this assumption.
Well, there is also a message from Livana to Magda from the Association of Jews from Egypt in Israel. We can donate from 2021 budget some $10,000 for digitalizing some 10,000 pages, but only if the digitalizing work could be done by the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. So we do for the Jewish French press up to the mid of the century. Thank you, Livana, but the digitalizing will be done by Egyptians. Very Wolfish, what about the Cairo Codex of the Prophets? Will that be there also?
Unfortunately, this codex is not included. It's not included in the corpus.
Michael Stefan, what are the future projects of Drop of Milk? I think we have a lot on our hands for the time being, but every day we have new projects. We are dreamers. David Ovadia, I would like to thank everybody who has been working very, very hard on preserving the Jewish heritage. This is a great opportunity to have a lot of tourists, visitors to visit, and also to be able to raise funds and have volunteers to help. Great opportunity for the Egyptian government to attract a lot of tourists and help the country flourish. This in one of many items for Ukrainian stories. We have to get rid of COVID-19 first. Thank you, David. Mohd Sas, for the question about Hebrew handwriting. Is it because the square Hebrew is scared? I don't know. What does he mean?
I have no idea.
Brian Ricketts, what kind of security issues do you foresee long term? I don't see, we have no security issues. I mean, we are here, I am here, I live as a normal person. The Drop of Milk is here to ensure continuity of the preservation of the Jewish heritage. Drop of Milk, by the way, I am the only person of Jewish confession in the Drop of Milk. Most of them are Muslim and Christian. So there is no issues of securities. I think that's all the. We have Dr. Hawari with us, Yoram. I would like to him to say a message if possible. Sami.
Yes,
خليه يتكلم. خليه يتكلم.
Just a second. Yeah, Dr. Hawari, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity, and thank you for my old friend Yoram Meital. We are looking forward, actually, for this project. That we have a library, have a collection of manuscripts and books from synagogues in Egypt. Actually, we want to, we are looking forward to see this project, and many students and scholars need this project actually. If we have and also, if we have the Geniza manuscripts still till now in the cemetery of Basatin, it will be a very good project because we know that it is difficult to work in Geniza manuscripts. Actually, many Geniza manuscripts outside Egypt, but scholars who work in Geniza want to work in the material itself. But I don't know actually this the manuscripts of Ben Anan is preserved in where in now in the synagogue or now in the
in a secret place, Dr. Hawari.
sorry?
In a secret place.
But
Oh,
safe.
okay.
It's in a safe, secret place.
It is good. Thank you very much, Yoram Meital. Thank you, Magda, and my friend Sami. Thank you.
Yeah, but
Thank you,
I
Dr.
just want to add a word to our guests who are not familiar with the studies of Professor Muhammad El-Awari from Ain Shams University in Cairo. He is a renowned world-class scholar of Geniza studies and a dear friend for many years. And definitely we would like to see much more of cooperation as we already have for many years, again with the library open and the support of Professor Hawari is very instrumental to this project. Thank you, Muhammad.